This is TCU wide receiver / running back, Savion Williams.
If you're looking for the next Deebo Samuel who does not turn into Deebo Samuel, Savion Williams
Ouch.
is your guy. But I say that as a compliment because like he actually has some flashes of doing things like that. He's actually humongous, unlike some of these other Deebo wannabes. 6'4", 222 pounds, really could run. I didn't see a bunch of wide receiver stuff, but the Wildcat stuff has me interested. So maybe Cordarrelle Patterson, Laviska Shenault. These are the comps we're trying to find here.
All right. So last year, and we know this every single year, Draft Twitter loves to impart a Deebo Samuel comparison on a prospect on every single draft class. Last year's was Malachi Corley. I will plant a flag saying that Savion Williams runs better routes and is an actual better wide receiver than Malachi Corley is. So maybe that's a launching pad here. And I actually think he does a better job with his releases and his route running maybe than you do. He's such a fun prospect to me. We always talk about it in all these videos. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Players that break the mold. And he does it in a whole bunch of different ways. As you said, he's a legit 6'4", 222 pounds with a 1.52 10-yard split and a 4.48. Now, this isn't a player that has, been part-time wide receiver, part-time running back that we can hope for like a lot of development in the future because he is already 23 years old and has spent 5 years at TCU. Now, we can also say that it's not like TCU has put together complete packages of wide receivers once they are drafted and reach the NFL. You can go back to Jalen Reagor, to Quentin Johnston, so on and so forth. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm just like leaving the light on a little bit more than a lot of people out there on his actual movement as a wide receiver and like actual chops as a wide receiver with route running, because there were plenty of times when he was like the isolated outside pass catcher versus some check down gimmies that the other guys were getting to.
Yeah, I think like the biggest compliment I can give him is like they were just like trying to get him the ball in a lot of different ways. You see that with lots of screens, lots of hitches, some slants, an occasional go ball. He had like one phenomenal, like just where he mossed a guy in the end zones. Like those, like the
Oh
upside
yeah.
plays you can talk about. All of the Wildcat stuff was really fun as well. I think where I just see it differently is I thought that his just ball tracking and his hands in general and his like hand placement and like the route diversity, it was all pretty lacking for a wide receiver. Now, I don't think he's going to be a starting wide receiver in the NFL. So I think that he would have some packages and he would be like a gadget type of player. Maybe more in like the Cordarrelle Patterson mold where like, yeah, he plays some wide receiver, but you're also just like looking to get, the 222 pounder that could run really fast with the football. And I think that's going to be kind of like what I would be doing. I would just take the TCU playbook and I'll kind of more or less try to copy paste that with Savion, assuming I don't already have like a manufactured touch player on the roster.
So he did force 18 missed tackles as a receiver last year, and then 22 as a runner on just
Yeah.
51 carries. 22 forced missed tackles on 51. He's a total bull with the ball in his hands. I mean, 11 of those 51 carries went for 10 plus yards this past season. I can point out, like you did, like that sick contested catch that he had versus UCF, and PFF actually charted him over the last 3 seasons, winning 26 of 33 contested catches. So I think his hands are actually really strong when he knows the football is going to him. Now, there's a number of occasions where the football shocks him, he's surprised by it, and just flat out brutal drops. There was a game against Stanford this year where he literally dropped 3 passes in about 5 plays. And you can't really get over that. And didn't look like he knew what was going on out there at times too. 5 of his drops were in the opening 3 games and 8 total all season long. So to me, there's a ability of if you watch this one game of Savion versus this other one, you can kind of pick plays to decide of what you want to be. That leads me to thinking like there's going to be a handful of NFL teams that kind of get like really excited
Right.
of how they can manufacture touches for this guy that you don't have to take in round 1, probably not even round 2, and just do some like cool ass shit with.
Yeah, I think he'll be a third or fourth round pick. One kind of note that I was like hoping to see more from him is he only has 9 returns on special teams. I think that's something that you can get more out of Savion Williams. Now, maybe there could be some other reasons why they don't have him out there doing that, but with the new kickoff rules, I would like to give Savion Williams a try. Obviously, that's where CPAT was so dominant in the league too. Last couple of notes for me in terms of just the overall production. 52 receiving yards per game was the most in his 5 years at TCU. And then yards per team pass attempts, like kind of like a pretty good analytics stat for him. His was in the bottom eighth percentile among drafted wide receivers. So I think you're really trying to project him as a wide receiver. I think that you can, if it's like a top 150 pick, I would get him on special teams. I would get some manufactured touches for him. And if he turns into the wide receiver flashes that we've seen, awesome. I think that's just a big projection for me personally.
Yeah, I wish he was 21 instead of
Yes.
23. I think that
Yes.
would help his profile quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, all the Cordero Patterson projections that are out there, I just saw better releases from Savion Williams. I saw like legit creating space on outside breaking routes and, powerful in his stem and all that type of stuff. And I wasn't really expecting that. And, LaVisca Chenault is something you threw out there. To me, LaVisca had the majority of his production in the slot, even at Colorado, and then couldn't win at all as an outside receiver at the NFL level. The name I actually kept coming back to, and this is going to come out as a negative, but Chase Claypool a little bit, because Chase Claypool, we know where he was drafted, had a quite nice rookie year. Then Ryan Poles felt good enough about him to trade a second round pick, and maybe
Oh.
a screw or two wasn't tightened well enough for Chase Claypool to reach his potential. But I kind of see like that same big, powerful,
Hmm.
even some manufactured touch stuff on jet sweeps
Hmm.
behind the line of scrimmage for rushing touchdowns. Chase Claypool's the name that came to mind for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that. He was the 49ers player that they tried to give all the manufactured touches, like the huge guy. Was it Jalen Hurd? Like there's been a
Jalen
couple.
Hurd, yes,
There's a
former
couple
running
of these
back at
guys.
Tennessee and then moved to Baylor. Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple of these guys that you can see. I mean, he's at least big and fast.
Yeah.
Like
I will
that's a
say,
good starting point.
he had the same number of slot targets this past year as Jack Besh. And this channel had a glowing video of Jack Besh. And I understand like there are reasons why, and that's where we think Jack Besh can be. But there were, again, I might be the only one saying this, some legit outside wide receiver stuff from Savion.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All
And
right.
I believe he's a bit of a dog. He is very
He has to
short
be.
and curt in his interviews. But then when he finally opens up, I think the locker room is going to quite like Williams.
I hope he turns out. He'd be a lot. If he's a dog, that would make the NFL and Sundays a lot more fun. That's for sure.
All right. That does it. On the channel, so many more wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, all that good stuff. So don't just watch this video. Watch another, watch another, watch another after that. And we'll see you in the next one.